Welcome to Adventure Nannies On Air. Today's episode was recorded live during one of our summit sessions as a part of our free ongoing educational webinar series to support nannies and professional childcare providers to elevate their careers and enhance their skills. If you like what you hear, you can catch the full episode on our YouTube channel or register for our next summit session at adventurenannies.com/summit-sessions. Welcome to today's summit session. My name is Reagan Fulton. I am the marketing director for Adventure Nannies, and I'm going to be the host of tonight's session. Today, we are so excited to have an amazing topic that is so important: how love can build safety within our communities and relationships. We have an incredible guest here with us. Joss Cambridge-Simmons, the founder of Joss Cambridge-Simmons, is not only a longtime childcare professional and community advocate, but he is a man who truly lets love lead the way. With 18 years of experience walking alongside families, Joss has cultivated a deeply authentic, heart-centered approach rooted in his Blackness, which has helped him build a 6-time award-winning childcare business. He brings a unique blend of presence, compassion, and steadfast belief in love as a transformative tool. So get ready to be inspired and connected and truly with what matters as we explore leading with love and challenging old systems and finding healing and grace. Welcome, Joss. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's just one village to the other right now, isn't it? You all have separate villages and you just become one. Very reflective of the core mission: support children and support families. Everyone has a different way of doing it, but the mission is the mission for all of us. That's where we align the most, where I knew of Adventure Nannies from many, many moons ago. That's why when I tagged them today, I mentioned the world-renowned Adventure Nannies, because to me, they should be bigger than they are. They should have a bigger platform than they are. The voice is amazing, but it needs to be seen by more people, because the work they do to support nannies in being seen, being heard, being valued, being paid well, and if authenticity, where I've seen how much they support people and being their truest authentic selves. Being from London, conversations around race and gender are something that done in a polite manner, and to not be too in your face, when Adventure Nannies are just in your face with it, and understand the coherent conversations around race, gender, masculinity, femininity, and are afraid to be at the forefront of these conversations, putting people like me in a place to have conversations about race, gender, equality, and the specifics that align with all of these within our childcare world all over the world. So in saying that, guys, I'm Joss Cambridge-Simmons, a teacher of love and the founder of Joss Cambridge-Simmons, 6-time award-winning childcare service. I'm a man from the village. And what that village looks like for me is love, support, passion, belief, authenticity, growth, turmoil, because life isn't linear and life isn't always simple puzzles, and also a village of trauma, because we've all been through what we've been through in life. But all of those intricate things have led me to become a man that leads with love and is able to immerse himself in spaces with children and families, and is able to become just a vessel for these children. And I say resource because I've learned over time that love is a resource that us don't know that we need until we need it. So Joss Cambridge is the resource of love that families don't realize they need until it enters the building and they realize that, well, we never knew we needed Joss. And how that looks for the children is me being a safe space for these children. For me as a Black man and as a male educator, is I get every side of their emotions and every version of their emotions, and the emotions they don't show at school. Because what I've learned, 9 out of 10 children mask. It's not just a thing of children on what we call in London the spectrum. It isn't just children that have on the spectrum mask. I've learned 9 out of 10 children, sometimes 10 children, mask their emotions. And it's their caregivers and their parents that get the brunt of their biggest, most turbulent, raw emotions.
Absolutely.
The emotions I know they don't portray at school or nursery is what I get. They're not wanting to sit down and have dinner. There's also no rules here. So we don't sit and have dinner. We sometimes have dinner whilst building. We sometimes eat dinner under the table, because sometimes I just want them to eat. But then I have to remix it and realize I don't want to see it as a battle. The battles are to be won. I'm not trying to win these kids. I'm trying to aid these children in working with them in a way that benefits them long term, suits my ego, and has me in a place as an adult where I'm being heard and seen and my words being followed through by children. No, I need my word to be challenged. I take the deep breaths and for me to work out, is this the job I really want? Like, how do I do this?
I love that. Is so incredible. You want them to feel safe with you. So like you just told us a bit about like your philosophy, how you handle, but tell us about like your childcare journey. How did you get into being a nanny? How did you fall into this? And how did, a little bit how you fell into this philosophy?
So when you arrive at a family party and your favorite cousin walks in, you're like, oh my God, that's cousin. A lot of us educators have arrived with a great energy and a great essence. How I arrived here is I was loved well, so I can love well. And it's only because I come from a village of where I'm loved, I'm valued, I'm appreciated from a child. It wasn't as happy as it sounded because there was trauma, there was domestic violence trigger warning, there was a number of stuff that didn't align with who I am now. But everything that I witnessed and went through as a child aided me to be able to be gentle and be soft as an adult. I wish it wasn't. Obviously, none of us, if any of us could turn back hands at the time, we would have great to not witness what we've witnessed or had the experiences we've experienced. But if we look at who we are now, I'm happy with who I am now. And it's only because I've been able to be in spaces with children and families where my understanding of my own personal journey with my own traumas and my own childhood put me into a space of wanting to understand trauma more on a professional level. So I knew how to not trauma bond, and I knew how to not let my traumas lead. And I knew how to not let my lead, because a lot of educators are in this space and normally say, I do this work because I've been through it too. And that's like me saying, hey, I love Sarah because Sarah's been through something. It's the worst reason to date somebody, because you've both been through the same, excuse my language, but BS. That's what you call trauma bonding. Educators are trauma bonded with this role, and I see it in their practice. And how that looked for me is, over the years, I started off working in nurseries because I had 2 little brothers, and my mum helped me find a job in a nursery setting. And it was based on me working in nursery when I realized I really enjoy supporting children under 5. Also, whilst working in nurseries, I was aware of the lack of men in childcare.
Did the opportunity even make sense to you? And because I love so much of what you do and encouraging other men to get into the field as well.
I wasn't aware of it. And it's also why it's imperative that I have to let everyone know that representation is important. It matters. I'm an 80s baby. I was brought up on films like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Danny Daycare, Mrs. Doubtfire, 3 Men and a Baby, Kindergarten Cop. All of these films had men going above and beyond or children that were theirs. Mrs. Doubtfire, the dad changed.
He might not have started as the best, but he learned to, right?
Yes. And for me, when John Travolta became a stepdad, that wasn't his baby. And for me, seeing this and having my dad around and my godfathers, and also having a stepdad, I only ever saw men that showed up for me. So I didn't know what it was to not show up. So when I'm in a setting as a teenager, I'm not understanding that this isn't a job that men are meant to not do. Because I was raised up on TV, watching TV shows, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Uncle Phil was everyone's father. Like,
absolutely.
Uncle Phil was everybody's want-to-be dad. And it's only because I saw all of this why I only saw men in a nurturing, present, consistent space. So when I stepped into working in nurseries, me seeing that transcended into me being consistent and showing up, because I didn't know how not to. Space of 18 years, I worked in nurseries as a nursery manager, room lead, educator, which is a nursery teacher, kindergarten teacher. I worked in care homes with children that are in between foster homes or in between their parental home and now under the government's legislation living in care homes with carers. I worked in family and baby units where the government signposted mums and dads to come and get parent coaching in a Saturday baby group, basically. Well, Joss Cambridge came about, marketing wise was where I've been DJing since I was 13, there was kind of like a guerrilla marketing mindset of you want everyone in the local area to know that you're a DJ. So even if they don't use you, I was told you want everybody in North London to know that you do childcare. What happened is every local food shop, every off license, every corner shop, every cafe, every barber shop had my business card in there. And this was before I even knew what was coming to me 10 years later. Well, I was adamant that I want to be, regardless of whether they're going to book me or not. 18 years later, people see me out and about, oh, you're still doing it? Yeah, I am. I was like 18, 19. And that's how Joss Care came about. And Joss Care also came about off the back of me wanting to be a nanny and never being aligned with the idea of maybe white women with a handbag full of gifts. I don't turn up to houses with toys. I'm not that educator. But the educator is what? My biggest resource for these kids is my presence and my love transcends. And what's happened over time is I've been able to be in these spaces and embed myself into children's play areas. I've always been a bit of a rebel. I've never really liked rules. So if I see everyone going that way, I want to go the other way. Why not? I want to get the results opposite getting. And I'm also very big, as I'm older now, I'm very big realizing and dismantling social constructs. So the way you might do something, I'm going to find a different way to do it and reconstruct it. And what's happened is I had a business card, which was called Joss Care. I was given their cards, and I was also nannying and babysitting families that I met, but I was also trying to go through agencies in London and just all over the world and find jobs. And it was 18, 19, 20, 21, etc. A lot of agencies would reply back saying, hi, we don't have any jobs for men. So even then, agencies were seeing nannying as a space where you have jobs specifically for women. I was knocking on the door and they weren't letting me in. So I created Joss Care. Joss Care became my own door, my own way into a childcare industry, which I've now become who I am within the space. And also I've got this far being my most authentic self as a black male as well, which is highly sought for, but also it's still not the norm in 2025. I'm still an anomaly. I'm still seen as, oh, is that what you do? Like, oh, wow. It's still having conversations where we're trying to get more men into the industry. All over the years when society changed, people started giving me jobs. I just was applying for jobs. I just wasn't getting them because the job just wasn't for me. Hence why Adventure Nannies made me feel safe. It wasn't a no because of me. It might be a no because of my CV, and I just wasn't fitted for that family, down to my gender or down to my race, where some agencies have made it an issue of race or gender. Then they haven't seen the issue, but I felt the issue. Adventure Nannies and My Nanny and Me by James, from James, who you've met, through agencies that have really supported me on this journey as a male nanny, and constantly push for parents to choose us men because we're still not chosen. But it also put me in the space of nobody chooses, you choose yourself.
Yes, I love that you choose yourself. Oh, that is so beautiful. We love when we get nanny applications.
Yes.
We love to have you on rosters, and families have their own hiring decisions, but we always encourage families to hire based on the resume. Exactly like you said, based on the resume. I am curious, we at Adventure Nannies do not use the term nanny. I know that's a term that gets floated around some. Nanny is not a gendered term. So there's no need to have a separate term, and we very much would never market specifically no mannies or only mannies. Nannies are important. So I was curious what you're feeling if you do use the term, how you feel about it.
It's funny. I was told like little rumors that like, as an American, people might believe that all English people drink tea.
We threw it all in the harbor, so we got to keep it.
So there's been a rumor in the UK that in America, the term nanny is illegal.
No,
okay.
Not at all. It is not. Not illegal at all. Honestly, there's very little regulation actually around the nanny industry at all. The UK has much more than the US does, for sure.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. No, not illegal, but at least at Adventure Nannies, we do not use the term because male nannies are nannies.
And my counter argument is, or the individuals don't believe they have a gender, what do you call them when they become a nanny? Do you gender specific those individuals into saying you've got to call yourself this or call yourself that, when they don't refer to themselves as a male or female, or they're non-binary. They still give a great level of childcare. But it's also showed me the lack of representation for transgenders and non-binaries and LGBTQ community as well, how much they're not seen and heard in this space. And alongside the fact we have a lack of men in the conversation around men in childcare isn't spoken on consistently enough. No, I don't have an issue with what I'm called, but I do dislike it when I say I'm a nanny and people correctly say you're a nanny. I'm not fussed. I've also been nanny for so long, way before the gender specifics came in. I was getting booked to do childcare, way before it became a trait of what's your gender. Yeah, it's funny because sometimes the children correct me, but that's because the children's societal construct of what isn't. And then now be like, I had a child get upset and cry in the park where my kids are playing with this child they just met. I introduced myself to the kids, say, hi, I'm Joss, I'm the kid's nanny. Like, I had to stop myself letting it be back and forth with like a 10-year-old because I'm 10. But she was so steadfast and so strongly believed that I could not be a nanny, she cried. And her dad was so triggered by her being upset. I don't think he knew how to show up for her in that conversation. They just stormed off and went home.
Because I'm sure he didn't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And he did, of course, didn't know that.
And then the dad's also seen some of the conversation and he's trying to have his daughter not say anymore. What they've left, and then my kids were asking me questions around what meant that, why was she upset, and why do people think men can't look after us, just like them about the fact their dad looks after them and I'm a man that's like their dad, but I'm not their dad. But just
right. So sometimes the hardest part with those little ones is not, kind of explaining why you do things differently without putting those ideas in their head. So you speak, a lot of challenging old systems in a practical sense. How can, love, how does love dismantle those systems? We've spoken a lot about like being a man in the industry and how you are leading that way. And I love how much you are, in terms of dismantling systems in general, especially through the kids. How do we do that? And what are the new norms that you see, afterwards? What is your ideal of like what that 10-year-old child sees you?
Because my new answer to that is decolonizing love.
How do we do that?
I've realized how much a lot of us are comfortable with the social constructs that benefit us. And that's the challenge. And it's very hard to tell someone that, that isn't the best way to do it when what they've been doing for how many years has worked for them and they've got a house, they've got money, they've got a job. It's benefited them so much. It's like the whole conversation about gender roles.
Yeah.
And gender roles within the realm of dating and relationships is where it benefits the people that believe there should be gender roles. But at the same instance, there's misogynism, there's control, and there's less advocacy, and there's less consent. But because in that space, they still feel safe and seen and heard, but the misogynism for them is just enough misogynism for them to be okay with until it isn't. And when I say decolonizing love is breaking away from societal constructs and societal norms of what we see and view love to be within adult relationships. And then when we look at that and break down some adult relationships and take away the misogynism, toxicity, the lack of men that aren't consistent and safe men all over the world, because there's an issue of unsafe men all over the world, it's a fact. That's when the conversation of how do we support our kids in doing this, and how that looks for me is having more conversations about the men that do the right thing, make the right choices, are emotionally available, emotionally present, emotionally consistent, soft, gentle. Because if you look online, the conversations around the men that don't do everything, it's the conversations that are going viral and we're liking and we're sharing. And no one's talking about the men that do. This isn't about applauding men for doing the bare minimum and doing what they should do, but having conversations on the positives that men do, the positive men that are out there doing this stuff, not to shed light on them to make them any bigger than they are, but to counter the conversation that's completely opposing against these men, thinking thrive how they see online in the sphere of the online male.
Yeah.
Ideal male.
Hate that term.
It's reflective, coming back to it now, is there's not many dads that I have met that haven't agreed with me when I said fatherhood be showing up as a parent, doing the parent stuff, having a tea time in the garden with your toddlers, talking to your toddlers about changing nappies, because every time you go change a nappy, they run away because they don't want to be changed because they're busy. Supporting children's emotions isn't specific to you as a father or the parent. Also have to understand there's parents that don't receive the title of mum or dad due to choices that I think it's he, she, or they would refer to. There's conversations that also need to be inclusive, all versions of humans in the space of. So when I am talking to fathers and I ask them, how has masculinity been changed for you by fatherhood? And it said, they never knew they could be so emotionally available, because they was. But as a parent, there's another ounce of emotion that comes with being a parent. But you have to dig deeper and pull through. And there's also parents that are doing this alone, doing this by themselves. My dad was just the one either alone in the house with 2, 3, 4 kids. And that's why a lot of it now for me on Instagram called Raising Me and Mine. So Raising Me and Mine,
that.
They spoke today about a conversation where parents pitch it, the mums within their groups pitch in how his cars are going for them. I'm here to support everyone if I can, because I do childcare, how I support. But I've said, all I can say is do all with grace.
Take your time.
Grace is a luxury that we all get to have at times. For those parents that are doing it alone, what's grace? If I don't do it, who's doing it?
Yeah, who's giving them grace?
When I come into work, I try to no longer ask parents how they are, because the majority of parents have lost it. Whether it's mum and dad or one parent in the house, majority of parents have had a sleepless night with their kids all over the world. So me walking in, fresh haircut, colourful jumper, feeling on top of the world, feeling great, all this great energy, and they're just tired, drinking coffee, waiting to get out the house to go to work. I just thought, hi guys, love you all. Rather than the trigger question of how are you? Because I've also realized how tricky that question is, because sometimes as a parent, regardless of your financial space in life, you don't know how you are. Time to sit down and think about how you are. In the midst of
what you just said about the way you walk in and just like, hey guys, I'm here. I can imagine as a parent who does not have their own nanny, the relief and like that is the work of nannies that I believe is so beautiful and so impactful, not only for the children, but the parents. What you just said about what you do for the parents and coming in and just being there and being able to let them step away and you're giving them grace. You're giving them the space to be able to cultivate that grace that they need to have for their kids when they come back at the end of the day. And like you said, not everybody has that. So beautiful the way that you do that for the families that you can impact. And spread that love.
And also it's learned, because I've got a lot of friends that are mums that have got godchildren, they're amazing mums. And I've learned over the years and just being in the space, also learned how triggering the thought of a male nanny is for mums that have been constantly let down by men. Because like I said, parenting puts you in spaces where you have to face things, where you might go to a baby group and you've got a bunch of mums in there that have all stay-at-home mums, that amazing buggy every on one stage, got 2 of them, like buggy carrier, some Lululemon, and just looking on top of the world with twins. I know how triggering that be, and I know how much mums don't go to baby groups because of this. So it's made me be very careful of what language I use when talking to parents and language I use in this space, because one, you never know what someone's going through, regardless of whether they're parent or not. And within this parenting space, sadly, the world isn't made to support parents to be parents. The world's set in a way where parents have to go out and thrive outside of the household before they can thrive inside the household. And so when I come in, I'm very mindful of when I come in and the relief I give parents, let alone, they often ask me, like, how do you do it, Joss? How are you so positive? How do you not get so triggered? How do you not get so annoyed when children say oi to you rather than say your name? And the mum and dad are the first people to say something. I've heard it. I just respond differently to that. Works for us because the parents don't feel the way to respond how they respond, and how I respond doesn't no longer trigger them to make them feel that that is perfect as Joss. But the parents have now given themselves more grace and understanding because of the approach I had with their children. Even this scenario recently at work where a little one wanted to go and do something, he said she can't do it anymore. The transitioning change happened quite rapidly. So I understand her grievances, but it was kind of, it was a no. And what's happened is her and dad are in the kitchen and it's like a standoff because she's trying to escape the house. The dad, you ever see yourself as a parent go from calm to calmer? Scenario is becoming more and more triggering. And I think when, as parents, you often remember how you was raised and how you was approached in these scenarios, but it's difficult to unlearn what you've been told to do or how you've been raised yourself. So this dad, he was shaking, but in the midst of him shaking, he become more calm. And it wasn't that anger that brings out a calmness and brings out a silence.
Scary anger, no.
It was a calmness that he's working through this. We both understand where she's come from. I've also come in to support, but I don't want to overstep, because when you're halfway through de-escalating something as an adult, I don't want to step in and undo the work you've just put in. But I want to be there as a supporting voice, because we are a team, one team, one dream. And we both had the same responses to her, become softer. Then I said to her, but I fully understand how upset you are, because I know how much you wanted to go through it. I fully understand you love it. It's your routine in your head. It's like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've got. This is what I've got. But please, we've said no for a reason that pertains to you being safe and you being well and you being happy a long time, rather than you going and it not working the way it should go. So if you have a shower, and remember what I said about having showers, sometimes showers can wash away how you feel. So like I'm in the shower. We was just like, she had it in her to resolve and stuff. And then take her in the shower. I've got to go home. The granddad was there. Granddad was so triggered, he left the house. We've gone home. Dad walked back downstairs to get a drink or whatever. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're not," because we both knew how hard that was.
Yeah. But then also saw how you both showed up the way that she needed you to.
Yes. And I think lastly, I also know how much men in this space don't want to be the constant disciplinarians or the ogres, so to speak, where people often contact with childcare, be like, "Oh, I need childcare. I need someone of my kids can listen to your whole man." I work with love and gentleness, and these children thrive around it. It's a longer process, but it benefits the long term, because I don't have to shout for my children to listen to me. They don't listen to me, but we can read it back in eventually and we have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Because we should all have the space to be able to have our feelings.
I love men in general and I want the best for us all over the world, but I also know how much as men we let down society. So I don't want to be the first man to break any of these young girls' strong willingness or trust, because sadly that is to come. There's men in her life that she might meet outside the house that might disappoint her. And I also want to support my little girls in knowing how to deal with disappointment when it comes to men. And knowing that
and that there are, even if once they do come upon that disappointment, that there is another. Yes, that is not the only thing that exists. There is good men. There is gentle. I love that. As you were telling that story, I was curious, do you have any tangible tips for like how you show up? You know, you talked about showing up. Is there anything that you do as like a ritual or as like routine that nannies can take away and do themselves to help them come into a space every day and work with that calm and love-led approach? Is there anything like that you do that you could pass along as a tip?
One thing I do daily on my Spotify, I've got a playlist on Spotify called Mornings Offer Gratitude. So I have a playlist of music for me that's just positive, great vibes, helps me start my day. And if I don't show up throughout the day and I have a somewhat bad day, my morning went well because I showed up for myself and I played my playlist. And I make my bed, because they're little steps. They become those where I get paid to show up for people. It's my job. So, and I have to show up for people regardless of anything else. I see friends and family. I have a lot of space and time for myself. I've been DJing for years. DJing is a hobby, but also a job, but it's something that fills up my cup. And something that's completely different from childcare.
Yes.
I've got a Substack called Joss Chose Love. I have a lot of outlets of space, but the biggest for me is stillness and doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. And not only become nannies because they're great at being busybodies.
Great at taking care of.
I'm an amazing childcarer because I take care of my own in the shower. Like,
That's amazing.
and it's difficult, but it's imperative because I can't go and give the level of care I need to give if I can't give the level of care I need to give myself. That's why, like, even if the little gifts I get from my family, Christmas and my birthdays, because they realise I'm so big on self-care, and they get me vouchers for the local well-being shop, aftershaves, facial creams, bath salts, about well-being, because we've also realised how imperative it is Joss as well. But
Yeah.
because we need it. Mum goes sound bathing, she books me a sound bath session. Lastly is sometimes ask yourself your why. Your calling might have no longer be your calling, which is fine. You might have fair enough with it, and all things come to an end to start better beginnings. Like, don't be afraid to take some time out and say, I don't want to do this anymore. And also, it's something that I struggle to find, but I find a village within this educational nanny world where I've got superb nanny friends, and I'm grateful. It's probably, I know how hard it's been for me to have made friends in this space that So I've got friends, but friends that I can talk to daily, that I can work with. I've got the village in two, but I would like a bigger village. But I'm grateful for the village I have in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's the
no,
question.
absolutely. I love this stillness. We're going to have to get that link to the
Yes.
playlist, and we'll add it to the
Yes.
show notes for the
Yes.
episode. So anybody listening to
Perfect.
the replay can go find it, since it
Yeah,
will bring your
yeah.
stories. Because that's a great, I love, and you're a DJ, so I'm sure the playlist is just incredible.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to give it a listen. Let me look at, we do have a couple questions. So we've got about 15 minutes left. The question, and Kimberly, I'm going to ask you to clarify. Oh, and she's gone. Darn it. Just asked if we could put the name of the group, and I missed it when it came through. So I don't know what group, what we were talking about when she said that.
I think it was Raising Me and Mine.
Okay.
The Instagram page is called Raising Me and Mine.
Okay. And I will get all of these links. I will get all the links from the pages that we talked about, anything that Joss mentioned here, and I will put it in the show notes to make sure that everybody can find those pages that you suggested. So I would love, and you've told some amazing stories today, but in your 18 years of experience, is there one story in your childcare that really just stands out as a really impactful moment, or some place that, you know, really exemplified the love-led approach and what you do?
Recently, it was Father's Day, and I think last year it happened. I messaged all the dads Happy Father's Day. My friends and dads, all the dads I work with. And then my dad last year told me Happy Father's Day. That hit, because my dad knows what I do, does what I do, but you don't sometimes realize that parents might really see the value of what you're doing. And my dad's seeing, I know you're a dad to these kids, Joss. And it's beautiful because my dad was also supportive of my stepdad in my life as well. So it goes without saying. But the biggest was this year, I was in the kitchen at work cooking, as we do, because we're chefs. We're all chefs. And little one doing some work on the table, the youngest. I was like, what are we doing? I'm just making a picture of mummy because I miss mummy. It's mummy time right now. I said, okay. She comes to show me after. I said, I look what I did. What does that mean? And it's a Father's Day again card. I was pretending. Because you're not daddy, but you're not a daddy. I was like, it's daddy day number 2 for you because you're not daddy, but you're a man and you look after us. And you said to our word because you're so soft. I talk to my kids about softness, that I'm soft with them. And even sometimes said to me, Josh, you're not being soft. That sounded grumpy. I said, okay, I'll work on that. But knowing that she sees me as another man in her life with her dad and her granddad, and valued me enough to write me a card that no one's asked her to give, no one's asked her to do this. And dad was like super over the moon, beautiful. Mum wanted to cry. I nearly cried. And that was, I think that's it, because I also want these children to be able to have men in their lives that are solid, that are consistent, that are safe spaces. And that's what I become for the village of children. So what you've just done, if I had to finish the day, I've did enough. And I think also with these little children to see someone that looks like me and have the value they have for me is even more imperative, because stereotypes that it's in the media all over the world aren't always the best. So I've now abolished that, because whenever we see my friend out and about to look like me, the girls say hi quick and be like, that was your friend that we saw the other day, and we chill in the park with my friends and play. And so they should be. But sometimes if children aren't exposed to certain cultures, they're going to be done.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So you've talked a lot about your approach. And I
Yes.
love how the love-led approach impacts the children, but it also impacts the parents that you work with.
Yes.
And I think that your journey is so incredible and has expanded. What's next? Because clearly your impact is going farther than just the children and the families you work with. We love having you here speaking, sharing with other nannies. There's got to be, where is the love-led approach going? How are you going to share it with the world? Because it needs to be out here, and I want to know what's next.
You know that amazing friend Riga. And for me, what's next is I've been approached by an amazing publishing house. When I told the children at work that I'm writing a book, they was like, who you with? I said the name. They're like, who? They meant Harry Potter. Got the Harry Potter book out. So the practice that I've created to support educators and families to raise children, basically, is based on my ethos of love and love safety and understand as a trauma. What I also did was the proposal that I've got, me and the person edited it, but it gives to use. I think we're also creating self-published authors because we can get them to publish their books, and they're amazing books.
Absolutely. That's how we published our book. So if anybody else wants to get their story out, I am so excited to get this book. Make sure you share it with us. If you're listening to this episode years down the line, we'll add Joss's book link in here once it's published. This philosophy, and like I said, you're doing a great work within the community that you're in, but I am so excited that, welcome across the pond, getting to share it with our audience to continue to share this amazing message with the world. So I'm so excited. If we have any other questions, go ahead and drop them in, but I don't see any in the chat. So is there anything last minute that you want to leave the audience with before we wrap it up?
Do your best to practice being present for yourself. The more present you are for yourself, the more present you can be for the villages that you support, be it family, friends, or work. And there's also a song go and find. It's called Worth Ethic. Tony, by a lady called Tony, and it's Worth Ethic. It talks about manifesting your worth and knowing your worth and acting within your worth. And that's my new alarm clock song. It's an amazing song. Worth
Beautiful.
Ethic.
Thank you so much. We will get all of the links of everything. I'll poke you and get all the playlists and all of the songs and all of the amazing pages that you shared. And we will share all of your information. Thank you for being here. Everybody, please make sure you go follow Joss Care. And what's your handle name again? Share your handle for everybody real quick.
Instagram, Joss Care. Chose love because love is a choice. And that's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day.